Okay, so let's continue our lesson today. Okay, so we go to the next chapter in this subject, which is making decision. Okay, so you as a manager, okay, as a management role, okay, it is your responsibility to make decision, either for your staff, okay, either for your operation, or sometimes even for your company as a whole. Okay, so in every level of management, your role as a manager is to make decision. Okay, so you have to make a decision. Okay, so in this chapter we will learn how to be a good decision maker. Okay, so this is the learning objective of this chapter. Okay, we will learn about the process of making decision, how you want to be a good decision maker, what kind of style, okay, you can use in your decision making. Okay, and then some approaches that you can use to improve your decision making process. Okay, all right. Okay, so be a better decision maker. Okay, so as a manager, okay, a key to success, okay, in your management career is to be a good okay, so it's not good, okay, but to be an effective decision maker. Okay, so okay, so you must be able to make decision making, okay, as effectively as possible. Means that first you must make a good choice, okay, and then maybe you have to make your decision making within the time frame, okay, and then you also must be able to assess, okay, the consequences of of your decision. Okay, so what is decision? Okay, so decision is a choice among, okay, so decision is making a choice, okay, among two or more alternative. Okay, so if, okay, you can imagine it as you pass a crossing road. Okay, so once you arrive at the junction, okay, you must make decision which junction you want to go. Okay, either to the left, okay, to you want to go straight, or you want to go right, or maybe you want to go you want to make a U-turn. Okay, it is your choice. Okay, so how to make a good choice. Okay, so that is the basic of decision making. So you must be able to analyze which choices is the best for your situation. Okay, so in order for you to make the decision, okay, so you can use this process. Okay, you can implement this process when you are making your decision. Okay, so in the decision making, you have I think you have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, and eight. Okay, so there are 8 steps. Okay, when you want to make your decision. Okay, so we will go through one by one. Okay, so the first step in decision making is to identify your problem. Okay, so most of the time when you want to make decision, usually it's because you are facing with some problem. Okay, or maybe you want to make you want to make a choice. Okay, you want to decide which choice is the best for your situation. Okay, all right, so there is a problem. Okay, so you want to solve the problem, you want to take an action to solve the problem, then you have to make your choice. Okay, so the first step before you making your choice is to identify what is the problem. Okay, so problem is any obstacle that makes it difficult to achieve a desired goal or purpose. Okay, so anything that blocks you from your goal. Okay, so that is a problem. Okay, so to overcome the problem, you must make decision. Okay, and then you also must make the choice which decision you want to make. Okay, so every decision start with a problem, a discrepancy between an existing and a desired condition. Okay, so when you make a decision, usually it is because you want to solve some problem. For example, maybe you want to go, you are hungry. Okay, the best example is you are hungry. Okay, so we as a human being, we must eat, right? So every time we want to go, every time when we are hungry, okay, so we must eat. But what is it that you want to eat? Okay, so you must make a decision. Either you want to eat local food, or maybe you want to eat eat an international food. Maybe you want to eat Western food. Okay, so that is the decision that you must make. Okay, so the problem is you are hungry and you want to eat. Okay, and then your choices is maybe you have Pakistani dishes, you have Western dishes, you have maybe Japanese dishes, you have the Korean dishes. So which one is which one you want to choose? Okay, so this is the first step. All right. Okay, so here they give you an example. Okay, so Amanda is a sales manager whose representative need new laptop. Okay, so the problem is Amanda has a need to buy a new laptop. Maybe sorry, maybe her laptop is broken, maybe her laptop is missing, stolen. Okay, so now the problem is he need to buy a new laptop. Okay, so that is the problem. Okay, so the first step is to identify what is the problem, what is the need that you have. Hey, sorry, what is the need that you need to, okay, what is the need that you have to put, that you have to fulfill. Okay, all right, so that is the step number one. Okay, and then step number two, identify the decision criteria. Okay, so before you make the decision, you must evaluate the decision. Okay, so you must evaluate the decision. What are the choice that you have? Okay, and then how you want to evaluate your choice. Okay, so decision criteria are factors that are important to resolving the problem. Okay, so example here, Amanda decide that memory and storage capabilities, display quality, battery life, warranty, and carrying weight are the relevant criteria in her decision. Okay, so sorry guys, I'm not very well today. All right. Okay, so before you make the choices, you must identify what are the criteria, what are the parameters that you will use in order to evaluate your choice. Okay, so in this example, because Amanda wants to buy a new laptop, okay, so she decides that she she wants to prioritize on memory and storage capabilities, display quality, battery life, warranty, and carrying weight. Okay, so these are the criteria of her choices. Okay, so if the choices can fulfill all those criteria, then she will choose that decision. Okay, so she will choose the decision. Okay, so here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so there are 5 criteria that Amanda will use to evaluate her choices. Okay, so that is step number 2. Okay, and then step number 3. Okay, you allocate weights to the criteria, or you decide which criteria is the most important one, which criteria is the least important one. Okay, so to make it simple, you put you allocate weightage. Okay, for example, okay, we have 5 criteria, right? Okay, so we have 5 criteria. Okay, and then you rank the criteria, which one is the most important one. Okay, and then the next important one, the third important one, until to the least important one. Okay, and then you put some numbers here like this. Okay, so these are the example of Amanda. So Amanda, he put the weightage. Okay, so what is the significance of weightage? Because it's easier for you to calculate. Okay, you can give a score to the choices that you want to make. Okay, so that's why it's important to put weight on the criteria. Okay, for example here, Amanda thinks that memory and storage of the laptop is the most important one, the most important criteria for his choices. Then here he put 10. Okay, means that the most important one. Okay, and then the second important one is the battery life. Okay, so she put here 8. Okay, so this is the second most important criteria. And then carrying weight, the third important criteria is 6, and then warranty 4, and then display quality 3. Okay, so you can use any scale that you want. Okay, you can also put here the scale of in the scale of 5. Okay, for example, memory and storage, the weightage is 5. Okay, the highest. And then battery life 4, carrying weight 3, warranty 2, and then display quality 1. Okay, so you can use any scale that you want on the weightage, depending on your choices. Okay, just put, okay, so just you just need to put the weightage on the most important criteria, okay, until you go down until the least important criteria. Okay, okay, so the weightage can be similar. If for example you have for example battery, okay, for example you think that battery life and carrying weight is is similar importance. Okay, for you it is both is very important to you. Maybe you can put here both 8 and 8. Okay, depending on your depending on your preferences. Okay, all right, so this is the third step where you put the weightage on your criteria. Okay, and then next one, you develop alternative, or you identify the choices that you have. Okay, so you list all the viable alternative or viable choices that you can choose to solve the problem. Okay, so for this example, Amanda identify 8 laptop, okay, as a possible candidate for for her choices. Okay, all right, so this is the alternative. Okay, so these are the choices that Amanda already list down. Okay, so we have here Acer Aspire E, okay, and then Apple MacBook Pro, okay, and then XPS 13. Sorry guys, is there any question? Okay, all right, so let's continue. Okay, all right, so these are the possible choices that Amanda can choose for her new laptop. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so we have seven choices, 7 laptop that Amanda can choose for her new laptop. Okay, and then okay, and then the next step number 5, you analyze the alternative. Okay, so once you identify the alternative, you need to analyze them using the criteria established in step 2. Okay, so here these are the analysis. Okay, so Amanda already done the analysis here. Okay, so for example, as Acer Aspire E, okay, the laptop has a very good memory and storage capabilities. Okay, so here she put 10. Okay, so the score is very high. Okay, but the battery life is very short. Okay, so you put the score there. Okay, for example here she put 3. Okay, carrying weight is a very lightweight laptop, then is a good. Okay, so Amanda put here 10. Okay, and then the warranty is long enough. Okay, so Amanda put here 8, and then the display quality is not so good. Okay, so it just average, so Amanda put here 5. Okay, so you just put the score of your choices based on your criteria. Okay, so these are the first step in analyzing your alternative. Okay, and then the next step is you multiply the score of your choices with the weightage of your of your criteria. Okay, for example, memory and storage, the weightage is 10, right? So Amanda, okay, for example, okay, we use the Aspire, Acer Aspire E as an example. Okay, so memory and storage memory and storage weightage is 10. Okay, and then the score for Aspire E for memory and storage is 10. Okay, so just multiply 10, okay, with 10. Okay, so you just multiply the score for the laptop with the weightage of the criteria. Okay, so that's why you get here 100. Okay, and then you do so to all those to all other criteria. Okay, and then you get the total. Okay, and then you total up the score. Okay, so you total up the score. Okay, and then you do to the next choices. Okay, here Apple MacBook, the score is 8 for memory and storage, so multiply by the weightage of the criteria, which is 10. Okay, 8 multiplied by 10 is equal to 80. Okay, so here battery life. Okay, battery life, we look back. Okay, so 5, so 5 multiplied by the weightage of the criteria, which is 8. So 8 multiplied by 5, you get 40, and so on. Okay, and then after you done with the multiplication of weightage multiplied by score, you total up the numbers, then you get your total marks, total score. Okay, so this is the step number 5. Okay, you evaluate your choices. Okay, and then you go for the step number 6, which is choose the alternative that generate the highest total in step 5. Okay, sorry. Okay, so after you total up the score, then you compare which of the alternative or which of your choices give you the highest marks. Okay, so here you can see Aspire E 231, Apple MacBook 232, XPS 13 231, Lenovo ThinkPad 229, Lenovo Yoga 204. Okay, and then Surface MacBook 249, and lastly Razer Blade Stealth 206. Okay, so you can already see the total. Okay, so from this total, you look which one give you the highest total. Okay, so when you compare this 1 2 3 4 5 7 6 7. Okay, so when you compare those 7 marks, okay, the highest mark you get is from Microsoft Surface Book. Okay, so you choose these choices. Okay, so it means that the best choices for you is Microsoft Surface Book. Okay, so you choose. Okay, so step number 6 is to make the choices. Okay, you choose Surface MacBook. Okay, sorry, Surface Book. Okay, and then step number 8, you implement the alternative. Okay, okay, so once you make the decision, then you implement it. Means that for this example, Amanda goes to the store and brought the Surface Book. Okay, because that is the best choices for her. All right, so that is step number 7. And then lastly, step number 8, you evaluate your decision. Either, okay, so after some time, okay, maybe Amanda will start to evaluate her laptop. Is it really the best laptop for her usage? Okay, if not, why? What is the weaknesses of her choices? Okay, so that is how you want to be an effective decision making. Okay, sorry, an effective decision maker. Okay, so once you make your decision, always look back at your decision and evaluate, okay, the effectiveness of your decision. Okay, is it the choice you make is the best choices for you, or if not, what is the problem, why you didn't make the best choices for your problem. Okay, all right, so that is the 8 step that you need to take before you can become a good, before you can become an effective decision maker. Okay, so these are the steps that you can follow. Okay, when you want to be an effective decision maker. All right. Okay, so that is the process. Okay, so that is the process of decision making. Okay, so you as a manager, what kind of decision that you usually will make for your company? Okay, so here, this figure show you the type of decision that you will make as the manager for the company. For example, okay, in planning, okay, the example of decision you will make is what are the organization long-term objective. Okay, so you want to identify the objective of your company. Okay, so what are the strategy to achieve your objective? Okay, and then what should be the organization short-term objective be? Okay, so you also want to set the short-term goal for your company. Okay, and then how difficult should individual goals be? Okay, so you want to determine the level of difficulty for your employees' goal. Okay, so these are the kind of decision that you have to make as a manager. Okay, and then we have under organizing. Okay, and then we have under leading, and we have under controlling. So these are some of the decision that you will make as a manager in a company. Okay, so you can read it through, okay, later, okay, from the slide. Okay, all right. So that is effective decision making. Okay, so there is another type of decision making. We call it as rational decision making. Okay, so rational decision making is the process where you make a decision based on logical and consistent process. Okay, and the choices that you make must maximize the value. Okay, so you must maximize the value of your choices. Okay, so that is rational decision making. Okay, so when you want to make a rational decision making, there are some assumption. The first assumption is rational decision maker is a logical and objective. Okay, so you must be a logical person, and you must have goals. Okay, when you want to make your decision. Okay, so the problem phase is clear and unambiguous. Must that means that you clearly knows what is the problem you are facing. Okay, and then the third one, decision maker would have a clear specific goal and be aware of all alternative on and consequences. Okay, so you must have a clear goal, and then you must also know all the choices that you can have. Okay, and then you also must aware what are the consequences, the effect of the choices. Okay, you must know all alternative and consequences of your choices. Okay, and then the fourth one, the alternative that maximize achieving this goal will be selected. Okay, so you must select the alternative that give you the maximum output. Okay, so you cannot choose when you make a choice. Okay, you cannot choose uh, the solution that didn't give you the best outcome. Okay, so you to be a rational decision maker, you must select the best possible outcome choices. All right, and then lastly, decision are made in the best interest of the organization. Okay, so the decision that you make must reflect the needs of the organization. Okay, so you cannot make decision based on your needs or based on your team needs. Okay, you cannot make decision based on your team needs. Okay, you must make decision based on whatever your company needs. Okay, so that is rational decision making. Okay, but the problem with rational decision making is most of the time you only have limited knowledge. Okay, means that when you making the choices, you always identify. Okay, you will always identify choices that you already know, or maybe your teammates know. Okay, means that you cannot know. Okay, if we look back at the rationalization making, the point number 3. Okay, so you must aware all alternative and consequences. Means that you must identify all possible choices that you can make. Okay, but as a human being, we have a limited knowledge, we have limited experience, we cannot identify all choices that we cannot identify all possible choices for our problem, to solve the problem. Okay, so that is okay. So in reality, okay, we cannot make a rational decision making. Okay, what we can make is what we call as a bounded rationality, bounded rational decision making. Okay, so means that we put some boundaries. Okay, because we have a limited knowledge, we have a limited time, we have limited experience, we have limited resources. Okay, when we are making the decision. Okay, so we are making the decision based on our boundaries. Okay, so that is bounded rationality decision making. Okay, so decision is making that is rational but limited by individual ability to process the information. Okay, so we try to be as rational as possible when we are making the decision, but we are being rational based on our limited knowledge, based on our limited information. Okay, so that is what we call as bounded rational decision making. Okay, so when we make sorry okay, so when we make those kind of choices, we call it as a good enough solution. Okay, so means that it's not the best solution, but the solution that you choose is the good enough solution to solve the problem. Okay, so you must accept. Okay, you must have some standard. Okay, you must put maybe some standard. Okay, some standard, so that your decision that you make, okay, is on the standard or a little bit above the standard. Okay, so in bounded rationality, you must okay, you will do a okay, you will create a you will choose a satisfies decision. Okay, so means that you only make choices that is satisfying your condition based on your information. Okay, so the solution is not the best solution, but the solution is good enough solution to solve the problem. Okay, so these are the reality. Okay, this is the reality of us as a human being. Okay, so you cannot make the best solution because you don't have all the information that you need to solve to make your choices. Okay, what you have, okay, is the information that you already what you have is the information that you already know, the knowledge that you already have, and then you make decision based on based on those information. Okay, so the decision that you make is only good enough solution. It's not the best, but good enough to solve the problem. Okay, all right. So that is bounded rationality decision making. Okay, next we have what we call as intuition decision making. Okay, so in the intuition decision making, okay, you make decision based on your experience, feeling, and accumulated judgment. Okay, so for the previous one, okay, for the previous type of decision making, we doing the analysis. Okay, the difference between intuition and rational decision making is in rational decision making, you do all the steps that I already show you, right? There are 8 steps in decision making, right? So in the rational decision making, you use those steps to evaluate your choices, okay? And then you choose the best, okay, the good enough choices based on your based on your analysis. Okay, all right. And then there are another type of decision making where you only use your judgment. Okay, you use your feelings, you use your experience. Okay, you use your judgment based on your experience. Okay, you make the judgment based on what you already experienced before. Okay, so that is intuitive decision making. So you make decision based on your intuition, based on what based on your feeling, based on what you already experienced before. Okay, so that is intuition decision making. Okay, so in intuition decision making, they have several types. Okay, so they have several aspect in intuition decision making. Okay, so either you make decision based on your experience. Okay, either you make the decision based on the effect or your feelings, your emotion. Okay, either you make the decision based on the cognitive, based on your knowledge and your skills. Okay, either you make the decision based on your subconscious mental processing. Okay, means that they subconsciously they decide. Okay, so managers use data from subconscious mind to help them make decision. Okay, so this one is based on their thinking. Okay, so you make decision based on your thinking alone. Okay, so this is what we call as subconscious mental decision making. Okay, and then lastly, based on the values or ethics. Okay, so you only make decision based on your culture, and also can be based on the ethics. Okay, so this five is the spectrum how you make decision based, okay, for intuition decision making. Okay, either you make decision based on your past experience, based on your emotion, based on your knowledge and expertise, based on your critical thinking, or based on the culture or the ethics. Okay, so these are five types of intuition decision making. Okay, okay, and then we have what we call as evidence based management. So evidence based management is the systematic use of best available evidence to improve management practice. Okay, so how to improve our management skill, or how to improve our decision making process. Okay, so the researcher in the management subject. Okay, so they come up with a system. They call it as evidence based management. Okay, so evidence based management is where you use evidence. Okay, for example, you already made the decision. Okay, and then after you make your decision, okay, and then you look at the result. Okay, so the result of your decision becomes the evidence, either your choice is good or not. Okay, and then this evidence can be used to support your next decision. Okay, so maybe after that you have to make a new decision. Okay, and then, okay, when you argue, okay, when you want to present your choices to your upper to the top management. Okay, you can use the evidence from your previous decision. Okay, so you can show to them. Okay, so based on my experience, okay, this is the evidence, this is the proof that this choice is the best for our company. That's all. Okay, that's it. Okay, so you use evidence to support your decision making. Okay, so this is one of the approach that you can use to improve your decision making, to improve your decision making skill. Okay, okay, another way where you can improve your decision making is through crowdsourcing. Okay, so what is crowdsourcing? Crowdsourcing is a decision making approach where you solicit idea and input from a network of people outside of the traditional set of decision maker. Okay, so in a simple term, okay, you try to ask opinion. Maybe you prepare a questionnaire. Okay, you prepare a simple questionnaire and then you send it to other people other than the one who makes the decision. For example, your friends, or maybe your employees, or maybe your client, or maybe your supplier. Okay, so you send okay, you try to get input from them. Okay, why? Because you want to increase your information. Okay, so you want to increase the amount of information that you can gather before you make the decision. Okay, so why you need that? Because if you have more information, if you have more opinion, then you have you have more choices you can choose from. Okay, so that is the reason why some people they use crowdsourcing to improve their decision making process. Okay, so crowdsourcing is another way where you can use to improve your decision making process. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, so there are two types of decision. Either it is a structured problem or program decision. Okay, so we go one by one. So what is structured problem? Structured problem is a straightforward, familiar, and easily defined problem. Okay, so problem that is easy to define. Okay, and then for structured problem, usually we will use a program decision. Okay, so program decision is a repetitive decision that can be handled by a routine approach. Okay, so this is what we call as a procedure or standard operating procedure. Okay, so program decision is what we call, okay, in another term, we call it as standard operating procedure. Okay, so there are some problem that you might encounter it frequently. Okay, means that you encounter it once, okay, and then after some time you encounter it again, okay, and again and again. Okay, so for a repetitive problem, okay, so for a repetitive problem, usually what you can do is to simplify your decision making, you prepare a standard operating procedure, SOP. Okay, so the SOP is what we call as program decision, means that we already put what is the decision that you need to what is the decision that you can make for this problem. Okay, for example, usually they will put it for the usually when we are dealing with machinery. Okay, so for machinery, usually the manufacturer is already aware what is the problem that you might encounter when you are using the machinery. Okay, so what the manufacturer usually do is they will prepare a documentation. Okay, so in the documentation you can see, okay, if the customer encounter this problem, how to solve it. If you encounter another problem, how to solve it. Okay, so that is program decision. Okay, it already stated how to make what is the choices that you can take to solve the problem. That is what we call as program decision. Okay, to solve the structured problem. Okay, so the problem, okay, when we encounter it frequently, it will become a very defined problem. Okay, so we can use program decision to solve a structured problem. Okay, so what are the type of program decision? Okay, so there are several type of program decision. For example, we have procedure, okay, or SOP. We can also call it as SOP, standard operating procedure. Is a series of sequential steps used to respond to a well-structured problem. And then it can be rule, okay, an explicit statement that tells manager what can and cannot be done, or it can be a policy, a guideline for making decision. Okay, so these are the three type of program decision. Either it is a procedure, a step-by-step process, what you should do to solve the problem, or it is a set of rule where it is stated what is the boundary when you want to make the decision. Okay, and then we also have policy. Policy is a guideline. Okay, so it's an instruction how you want to make the decision. Okay, so these are the three type of program decision. All right, and then we have, so we already have the structured problem. Okay, and then we also will encounter what we call as unstructured problem. Okay, so unstructured problem is a problem that are new or unusual and for which information is ambiguous or incomplete. Okay, so in a simpler term, unstructured problem is the problem that you not encounter it frequently. Okay, so maybe once in a while you encounter the problem. Okay, and then maybe the problem is something new that you experience. Okay, for example, when we have the pandemic outbreak, okay, suddenly all the country they impose what we call as MCO, movement control order. So movement control order is something new. Okay, we don't have any experience. Okay, so the problem of COVID-19 outbreak is something new. Okay, and then we also make the unusual. Okay, we also to encounter this new problem, we also will take a new approach to solve the problem. Okay, so the new approach to solve the problem, we call it as non-program decision. Okay, so non-program decision is very unique and a non-recurring. Okay, means that not repetitive decision. Okay, and then it will involve custom-made solution. Okay, so these are the two types of problem and the two type of decision that you will facing as a manager. Either you have a repetitive problem that you can solve it using a repetitive procedure, or you will facing with a new problem that you must use a new approach to solve the problem. Okay, all right. So this one is the comparison between program decision and non-program decision. Okay, all right. You can look here. So program decision is very structured. You already know what to do. Okay, non-program decision is unstructured. Means that it is a new problem. You are not facing this problem yet, so you don't know what you have to do. Okay, so it's a very unstructured situation. Okay, and then the managerial level is very low. Okay, for progress decision, because you already know what to do, so you don't have to manage the problem. It can be solved by the employee directly. Okay, but for non-program decision is the it will involve the upper level manager. Uh, it will involve upper level managerial. Okay, means that the top management will involve in this problem. Middle or top management will involve. Okay, in this decision. Okay, and then frequency for programmation is very repetitive and routine. Non-programmation is new and unusual. Okay, for program decision, the information about the problem usually is readily available because you frequently experience the problem, then you already gather lots of information about the problem. Okay, but for non-program decision, most of the time the problem is very ambiguous and incomplete because you experience it the first time. Okay, you don't know what you don't know you don't have lots of information about the problem. Okay, and then for program decision, the goal is clear and specific, but for non-program decision is very vague. Okay, and then program decision, the time frame for to find the solution is very short because you just have to refer back to the procedure. Okay, you already have the procedure, you just refer back to the procedure, and then you can straight away settle the problem. Okay, and then for non-program decision, most of the time it will take long time because you have to evaluate the problem first, evaluate your choices. Okay, and then from the evaluation you have to critically choose which solution is the best for your situation. Okay, so it will take a long time for a new problem to be solved. Okay, and then to solve the program decision, you just follow the procedure, rules, and the policies that already imposed for those problems. Okay, but for the non-program decision, to solve the problem, you must use your judgment and also your creativity. Okay. All right. So these are the differences between program and non-program decision. Okay. All right. So we already talked about the problem, the type of decision making. So now we want to learn about the style of decision making. So they are okay. Okay. We as a human being, we have different personalities. Okay. So based on the research done by the management research, they find out that there are 4 types of decision making style that usually will be used by the human being. Okay. So the decision making style is based on how you as a human being thinking, and then how you as a human being tolerate the ambiguity or the incompleteness of the information. Okay. So this is the two dimension or the two characteristic that determine which decision making you can use to solve the problem. Okay. So the 4 style are directive, analytic, conceptual, and behavioral. Okay. All right. So we look at the 4 style of decision making. Directive style is low tolerance for ambiguity and seek rationality. Okay. For directive style, most of the time is to solve the the problem that is clearly understand. Okay, you already understand the problem clearly. Okay, and then to solve the problem, you must use your rationality. Okay, you must be a rational decision maker. Okay, so that is the directive style. Okay, and then analytic style. Okay, so analytic style is you want to make a rational decision making. Okay, for for a problem that you don't really understand. Okay, means that the information about the problem, okay, is not enough. Okay, it's very little. Okay, so you only have a little bit of information about the problem. Okay, but you have to solve it, so you can use analytic style decision making. Okay, and then conceptual style. Okay, so conceptual style, you use your intuition to make the decision, okay, for a problem that you don't understand. Okay, so that is conceptual, means that you have to imagine because now you don't have all the information about the problem, right? So you have to imagine what is the problem based on little information that you have. You have to imagine it. Okay, and then you must use your creativity. Okay, and then you also must use your critical thinking to solve the problem. Okay, so that is conceptual style. Okay, and then lastly is behavioral style. Okay, means that you make decision based on your behavior. Okay, intuitive decision maker with low tolerance of ambiguity. Okay, so behavioral means that you already understand the problem clearly. Okay, and then you make the judgment based on your experience or based on your intuition. Okay. All right, so this figure shows the 4 types of decision making. Okay, decision making model based on how you are thinking. Either you are a rational decision maker, or you are intuitive decision maker, and then the if and then based on the information of the problem, either is a very high very high information, or very little information. Okay, so you can choose. Okay, so you don't have to stick to one type of style. Okay, you can change your style based on the condition. Okay, all right. Okay, and then we call okay, and then we have what we call as heuristics. Okay, so heuristics or rule of thumb, okay, can help make sense of complex, uncertain, and ambiguous information. Okay, so they are also another type. Okay, so when you are making a decision, usually we will make decision based on whatever we already encounter. Okay, so when we use our experience, okay, that is what we call as rule of thumb. Okay, means that from our experience we already set some rules Okay, how we want to make decision. Okay, so that is what we call as rule of thumb. Okay, so rule of thumb, okay, can be used to help you make decision when you are facing with a very complex problem. Okay, and in a certain uncertain situation. Okay, and then the information of the problem is very little. Okay, you can use your rules of thumb, okay, when you are facing with a very complex problem that you don't have lots of information about the problem. Okay, you can use your rule of thumb. Okay, it means that you can make, I can call it as a initial decision. Okay, maybe because you have to solve the problem quickly, so you just make your first move first. Okay, you make your first move. Okay, but when you are using rule of thumb, you must understand. Okay, your rule of thumb can lead to errors and biases in processing and evaluating information. Okay, so you have to be very careful on the rules of thumb. Okay, when you want to use it, it can create a bias. Okay, so you have to be very careful on when you want to apply for when you want to apply rule of thumb in your decision making. All right. Okay. All right. So that is about the rule of thumb or heuristics. Okay. So this figure show you the 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 common errors that you can make as a decision maker when you want to make your decision. Okay, so we have here is these are the 12 this figure show you the 12 common mistake that you can make as a decision maker. Okay, so either you be, okay, so first one, overconfidence, immediate gratification, anchoring effect, selective perception, confirmation, framing, availability, representation, randomness, sunk cost, self-serving, and lastly is hindsight. Okay, so these 12 mistake is the most common mistake that a decision maker will make when they want to make their choices. Okay, so we go one by one. Okay, so we will analyze the mistake one by one. Okay. Okay. So the first error is overconfident bias. Okay, holding unrealistically positive view of oneself and one performance. Okay, so sometimes you as a decision maker, sometimes you can be overconfident with your capability to solve the problem. Okay, so it means that you are very positive that you can solve the problem, but sometimes maybe you when you want to solve the problem, you will encounter another problem because you don't have enough capabilities to solve the problem. Okay, so that is the first errors or mistake that a decision maker can make. Okay, you can be overconfident with your capability to solve the problem. Okay, that is the first mistake. Okay, and then the second mistake is immediate gratification. Okay, you choose alternative that offer immediate reward and avoid immediate cost. Okay, so you only choose you only choose the solution that give you immediate solution. Okay, you didn't think about the effect on the longer term. Okay, maybe for example you choose, okay, for example you have a broken machinery. Okay, so what you do, you replace a part of, okay, okay, so to fix it, you have to buy the spare part from the manufacturer. Okay, and then the price of the price of the spare part is very costly. Okay, the cost is very high. Okay, so what you do, you seek for a third party spare part. Okay, so when you using a third party spare part, yes, it can solve your problem. Okay, you can solve the problem quickly. Okay, and then maybe the cost is not is very low, but in longer term, maybe the spare part cannot work, can create another problem in the machinery. Okay, so that is what we call as immediate gratification. You only try to solve the problem, okay, for immediate result. Okay, you didn't care about the you didn't care for the longer term problem, or longer term effect from your choices. Okay, so that is the second mistake. Okay, you as a decision maker will make when you decide for your choices. Okay, and then the third mistake is huh? Okay. And then the third mistake is anchoring effect. Okay, fixing on initial information and ignoring subsequent information. Okay, so anchoring effect, in a simple term, means that, okay, you facing one problem. Okay, so you collect some data from that. Okay, and then you want to make a decision. Okay, but during the decision making process, you get additional information about the problem. Okay, but okay, so but because you have the anchoring effect, okay, you have the anchoring effect in your decision making, you ignore the new information, okay, the new update for the problem. Okay, you ignore the update the update information for the problem. Okay, so it means that you make your decision based on your initial information only. Okay, so the decision that you make, okay, might be maybe can help you to solve the problem very shortly. Okay, or maybe it cannot it cannot solve the problem at all. Okay, why? Because now there is a changing there is a changing in the problem. Okay, so you get more data for the problem. Okay, but you ignore it. Okay, so that is what we call as anchoring effect mistake. Okay, so that is the third mistake you as a decision maker can make. Okay, and then the fourth one, selective perception bias. Okay, selecting, organizing, and interpreting event based on the decision makers bias perception. Okay, so in selective perception, you analyze the problem based on your perspective only. Okay, so to be an effective decision maker, you must also take consideration of other point of view. Okay, using only one point of view, sometimes you will missing some information, so you must change your point of view. Okay, you must look at the problem from a different angle, so you can have a better perspective about the problem. Okay, so that is okay. So this is the fourth common mistake that will happen during the decision making process. Okay, and then confirmation bias, seeking out information that reaffirm past choices while discounting contradictory information. Okay, so for confirmation bias, okay, confirmation bias. Okay, so confirmation bias means that you you have one problem. Okay, and then you from when you study about the problem, you see, oh, this problem is very similar to what I already encountered before. Okay, and then you make your decision based on the previous choices that you already made. Okay, but at the same time, there are some differences between your previous problem with your current problem. Okay, but because you want to make a quick decision, you ignore the differences. Okay, because you think, okay, this the differences is very minor. Okay, it will not affect your decision. Okay, so then you make the decision based on whatever you already made before. Okay, so for this kind of situation, okay, the decision that you can make maybe can worsen the problem. Okay, because the minute difference in the problem maybe will create another problem. Okay, because of your decision. Okay, so that is another mistake that will happen in the decision making process. Okay, and then framing bias, selecting and highlighting certain aspect of the situation while ignoring other aspect. Okay, so this one is almost similar with confirmation, but this one you selectively choose whatever information that you want to have while you ignoring another other information that you don't want to you don't want to look at. Okay, so this one is another mistake, framing bias. Okay, and then availability bias, losing decision making objectivity by focusing on the most recent event. Okay, so you only focus. Okay, so in availability bias, it will happen when decision maker tend to remember events that are the most recent and vivid in their memory. Okay, so it will distort their ability to recall event in an objective manner and result in distort judgment and probability estimate. Okay, so availability bias means that you only, okay, so the problem, maybe the problem had already going on for several times. Okay, so there is maybe several months. Okay, so it's already happening maybe several months. Okay, so you when you want to solve the problem, you only remember the most recent event of the problem. Okay, so maybe you didn't care about the previous event that happened for the problem. Okay, maybe you just remember this month event. Okay, and then you just ignore all the previous month event that happened because of the problem. Okay, so that is availability bias. Okay, and then representation bias, drawing analogies and seeing identical situation when none exists. Okay, so when decision maker assess the likelihood of an event based on how closely it resembles other event or set of event, that's the representation bias. Okay, means that you want to relate the problem that you have now with the problem that you already encountered before. But in reality, there is no relation, there is no similarities between the current problem with the previous problem. Okay, so that is representation bias. Okay, all this this problem happen usually because you want to make a quick and simple, you want to make a quick and simple decision. Okay, because you don't want to deal with the problem. Okay, in the long term. Okay, you want to solve it quickly. Okay, all right, so this one is another mistake that will happen during decision making process. Okay, all right, and then next one is randomness bias. Okay, so randomness bias, creating unfounded meaning out of random event. Okay, so the randomness bias describe the action of decision maker who try to create meaning out of random event. Okay, they do this because most decision maker have difficulty dealing with chance, even though random event happen to everyone, and there's nothing that can be done to predict them. Okay, so when you have a random problem, okay, so you want to create some meanings on that. Okay, but because of the randomness is not sorry, okay, but because of the randomness of the event, okay, there is no meaning in those events. Okay, so you are making you are making some non-existent meaning out of a random event. Okay, and then sunk cost error, forgetting that current action cannot influence past event and relate only to future consequences. Okay, so sunk cost error occur when decision maker forget that current choices cannot correct the past. Okay, they incorrectly fixate on past expenditure of time, money, or effort in assessing choices rather than on future consequences. Instead of ignoring sunk cost, they can forget them. Okay, so sunk cost error where is happen when you you try to fix your decision. Okay, you try to fix the problem that already happened. Okay, you try to fix your choices that you already taken in the past. Okay, so you have to remember when you make your choices it will affect your future, not your past. Anything that already happened cannot be fixed anymore. Okay, you can only reflect and learn from the past mistake. Okay, so what you can do is you make a better decision for your future. Okay, so you have to remember that. Okay, so you cannot be fixated on the past event. Okay. All right, so that is sunk cost error. And then we have what we call as self-serving bias. Okay, so self-serving bias is taking quick credit for success and blaming other outside factor for failures. Okay, so decision maker who are quick to take credit for their success and blame failure to outside factor are exhibit self-serving bias. Okay, so it means that you are only you are putting blames on others. Okay, if your decision is a failure. Okay, and then when your choices is a success. Okay, you are the one who will say that you are the one who make the decision. Okay, so that is what we call as self-serving bias. Okay, you quickly take credit if you have a success, but you are quick to put blame on others when you are facing failures. Okay, and then lastly, the last mistake that will happen in decision making process is hindsight bias, mistakenly believing that an event could have been predicted once the actual outcome is known. Okay, so the hindsight bias is a tendency for decision maker to falsely believe that they will have accurately predicted the outcome of an event once the outcome is actually known. Okay, so means that okay, for hindsight bias means that you make a claim that you can predict the future accurately. Okay, means that when you make the decision, okay, you say that okay, I predict 100% that this will happen. Okay, so in reality, that those things will not happen. Okay, because there are some probability or some other effect that will affect the outcome of your decision. Okay, so you have to take note on that. Okay, right. So these are the problem or the mistake that can happen in decision making process. All right. Okay, so decision making process is not a simple process. It's a very complex process. Okay, that will involve lots of information. Okay, either the information about the problem or the information about the choices that you can have. Okay, you can take, you can choose. Okay, so to help the decision maker in their decision making process. Okay, we have several tools that we can use to make your decision maker more effective. Okay. Okay, so nowadays we use lots of technology. So technology has changed the ability of manager to access the information. Okay, so in this current era, okay, we can use the technology. Okay, we can use the state of the art technology to help us to improve the decision making process. Okay, so there are two technology that have been used in this to improve decision making process. First is the decision thinking approaching management problem as designer approach this design problem. Okay, so we have to change how we think how we approach the problem. Okay, so we are using the how we are using the method, okay, or the approach using by the designer. Okay, how you want to approach the how on how they approach their design problem. Okay, So design thinking has been described as approaching management problem as the approach design problem. What can the design thinking approach teach manager about making better decision? Well, it begins with the first step of identifying problem. Okay, design thinking says that managers should look at the problem identification collaboratively and integratively, with the goal of gaining a deep understanding of the situation. They should look not only at the rational aspect but also at the emotional elements. Then, invariably, of course, decision thinking will influence how manager identify and evaluate alternative. A traditional manager would take the option that have been presented and analyze them based on deductive reasoning and then select the one with the highest net present value. However, using design thinking, a manager would say what is something completely new that would be lovely if it exists but doesn't now. Okay, so design thinking means opening up your perspective and gaining insight by using observation and inquiry and not relying simply on rational analysis. Okay. Okay. So design thinking is a new approach on how you view the problem and how you view the alternative. Okay. So instead of only thinking the problem and the solution uh, rationally. Okay. So what? Okay. Okay, so you're not limiting your decision making process. Okay, you're not limiting it in only for a rational one. Okay, so you try to be creative. Okay, so design thinking is how you we in design thinking we try to change the perception. Okay, how you all not only thinking the rational solution for the problem. Okay, but you also try to approach the problem creatively. Maybe there are some problem that are not rational now, but maybe in the future it will become more rational. Okay, so that is a design thinking approach. So we try to change how we as a manager approach the problem and approach the solution. Okay, so that is design thinking. Okay, and then we also use the cutting edge technology to assist us to how to visualize the problem and how to visualize the solution. Okay, so we use big data and also artificial intelligence. Okay, to visualize to create a better visualization for the problem and the solution. Okay, so big data refers to huge and complex data set. Now, the data set that now available, big data has opened the door to widespread use of artificial intelligence. Okay, so we use two technology, which is big data and also artificial intelligence. So to create a better perspective, okay, or to create a better visualization of our problem. Okay, so what is the big data? So big data is the vast amount of quantifiable data that can be analyzed by highly sophisticated data processing. Okay, so big data is like an Excel. Okay, but in Excel you only have, if I'm not mistaken, you can only put data in one spreadsheet. I think around 1 million. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, I'm not remember the exact number, but there are some limitation. Okay, in Excel. Okay, so we use most of the time we use Excel to evaluate the quantitative data. Okay, but the Excel itself, they have limitation on how many data you can store in the Excel sheet. Okay, but in big data, you eliminate this problem. Okay, so now you can store maybe 100 millions of data, billions of data in your database. Okay, so now the number of data you have is much bigger to what the amount of data you have in the past year. Okay, so now you will have more data, means that you can analyze you can create a more okay, you can create a better visualization of your problem. Okay, because now you can collect more data. Okay, so now with more data, you can you can imagine or visualize your problem more clearly. Okay, so that is a big data. Okay, so big data can be a powerful tool in decision making, but collecting and analyzing data for data sake is a wasted effort. Okay, so using the big data, it can be a powerful tool to in decision making. Why? Because now you can collect more data. More data means more analysis. Okay, okay, it means that the analysis that you can do is more thorough. Okay, you can have a more detailed analysis. Okay, so that's why big data has been used to assist in decision making process. Okay, so big data, it is used to make a better visualization of your problem, and also to make a better visualization of your solution. Okay, so you use data from the big data analysis, okay, to make a better decision making. Okay, sorry, a better decision making process. All right, and then we also use what we call as artificial intelligence and machine learning tool. Okay, so artificial intelligence use computing power to solve complex problem. Okay, so nowadays the computer technology is very advanced. Okay, so now the computer can we can use the computer to simulate the problem that we have. Okay, so combining big data with artificial intelligence, now we don't have to analyze the data manually by the human. Okay, so now human left. Okay, so now the role of analyzing data has been taken over by the computer, by the machine. Okay, and they are more effective in analyzing the data. Okay, so that is the use of artificial intelligence. You use the artificial intelligence to analyze the data and process the data more effectively than human. Okay, so AI system have the ability to learn and have facilitated the use of new tools such as machine learning, deep learning, and analytics. Okay, so we use the AI system to create more new technology. Okay, which is the machine learning, deep learning, and analytics. Okay, so machine learning is a method where the data analysis is automated by the analytical model building. Okay, so now instead of human controlling the computer to do the analysis, now we can let the machine do the analysis by for us. Okay, so we let the using the artificial intelligence, we use the machine learning. Okay, so we teach the AI how to analyze the data. Okay, so we let the AI the AI learn. Okay, from the from a sample data set that we have. Okay, we let the machine learn how to analyze, how to interpret the data. Okay, and then we dump the data from our and then we dump data from our big data system. Okay, and then the AI can do the analysis and process the data by themselves. Okay, so there is no need for human to control the process anymore. So that is machine learning. Okay, and then we have what we call as deep learning. So deep learning is a subset of machine learning that use algorithm to create a hierarchical level of artificial neural oh, artificial neural network that simulate the function of human brain. Okay, so deep learning is the advanced type of machine learning. Okay, so now instead of the machine thinking like a machine, now we have the technology to simulate our how human brain is thinking. Okay, so we let the machine learn and behave like a human being. Okay, so that is deep learning. Okay, and then we have the last tools, which is the analytic tool. Okay, we use the mathematics, statistics, predictive modeling, and machine learning to find meaningful pattern in dataset. So after the machine is learning the process and analyze the data, then we come up with the last tool, which is the analytic tool. Okay, so after the machine learn how to process the data and then learn how to analyze the data, then we give the machine the analytic tool. So now the machine can represent the data in maybe a graph or a table or a chart, okay, so that it become more presentable. It become easier for us to understand what is the meaning of the data. Okay, so that is the last tool that we use in a decision making process. The last tool that we use to enhance decision making process, which is the analytic tool. All right. Okay. Okay. So that's all for chapter 2. Okay.